37 years now.
So you are Deputy Managing Director for what period?
It was September 2009 to May 2011. And then I acted as the Managing Director from May 2011 to December 2011 when I was appointed as Managing Director.
And before you were Deputy MD?
Sorry?
Before you were Deputy MD, what office did you hold?
I was the Director of Outside Plant, Gamtel.
Director of?
Outside Plant.
Outside?
Outside Plant, meaning I was in charge of all external installations in Gamtel.
What is the word you use? Outside plant?
Plant, P-L-A-N-T.
For what period?
Between 2007 and 2009.
Okay. Before that?
And before that, I was Senior Manager, Planning and Development, 2005 to 2007.
Planning and Development.
Planning and Development.
All right. So what year did you start in Gamtel?
I started in Gamtel in the year 1980.
1980.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Mr. Sanyang, you've been summoned on various topics and you've been talking to the investigators. Today we're just going to talk about the contract between the National Assembly and Gamtel for the, is it the IPBS? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Tomorrow we will continue at 10 o'clock and we'll continue on other issues. I'm going to show you some documents. Exhibit 67A. Sorry, I'm showing you 67 and 67A. Can you show it to him? Exhibit 67A is dated 5th January 2015, addressed to Managing Director Gamtel. That was yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, that is.
And it's about additional works at the new National Assembly building. And it says that this is to inform your good office that the National Assembly Authority at its meeting of 29 December has agreed to award the contract to Gamtel for the following lots. And it says lot 11, supply, installation and commissioning of IPBX and data conversion with telephone handset and accessories, $28 million. Did you sign a contract with the National Assembly?
Yes, ma'am. We signed a contract with the National Assembly.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get a copy yet, but I'm sure the clerk would have a copy. He'll be in later today. Now, if you look at Exhibit 67, It's a letter you wrote dated 15 January 2015. That's 10 days after you were awarded the contract. You wrote to Managing Director Mobicel Blue Ocean Wireless. And in it you refer to the National Assembly contract, and in paragraph 2, you said, on a similar note, Gamtel management is hereby awarding the said contract with all the associated terms and conditions to Mobicel Blue Ocean as a subcontractor at a total cost of $585,808.17. Did you sign a contract, by the way, with Mobicel Blue?
No, we did not sign a contract with Mobicel. What happened was, when National Assembly wrote to Gamtel to deploy a telephone system in the new building during the construction, what I did first was to set up a project team. And this project team was to work together with National Assembly from henceforth. They started visiting the National Assembly.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'd just like us to go a little bit back. You had previously been written to by the National Assembly indicating that GPPA had given approval for the contract to be awarded to Gamtel.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that pursuant to an application Gamtel had submitted for these works?
No, that was GPPA that sought that approval from National Assembly that sought approval from GPPA.
Yes. How did Gamtel become aware of the National Assembly's need for these service, and what steps did Gamtel take as a result?
Thank you, ma'am. That's what I was trying to explain. They approached us as usual that they have a construction in progress, and that they would want to have a PABX system within the building. I set up a team to work with them that comprised of both customer service and the technical department. This was a project team that was attached to address the needs of the National Assembly. When they engaged the National Assembly on several occasions.
Who were the members of your team? The persons.
The head of the team was Sergio Khan. He was the director of customer service. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't recall all of them, but I know some members from the switchboard section, the SMX, were also part of the team. I probably would be able to find out from the list. If I make a research in the documents, I'll be able to get a list.
You have some documents to that effect? You have documents, you said?
Yeah, if I make a research, I'll be able to get this listing.
Okay.
Yes.
Go on.
So during their meetings, they initially proposed to deploy a Panasonic analog system, which was to some extent not suitable for the services that the National Assembly wanted. Before the National Assembly even wrote to us, we laid a fiber cable all the way to the building as a strategy with regards to dealing with corporate customers. This is to avoid breaking finished work when the customer wants our services. That fiber cable was designed to handle both data and voice. And when the Panasonic switchboard was proposed to them, it was later discovered that that was not suitable for the services they require. During the meetings with the committee, they suggested to them that already there is a Cisco platform that had already been deployed at the office of the president. And this Cisco platform was supposed to be able to provide the needed services from the National Assembly. So this was introduced to them by the project team I set up. The National Assembly got interested and found out who actually, whether we could do the Cisco platform that was proposed to them. But then, unfortunately, we did not have that manpower in-house in Gamtel, and the contractor for the platform in the State House was introduced to them. Then they approached him, and he came on board, had a visit, and before he was able to provide any offer to them, we said, since we started with National Assembly, we are still going to maintain this project with the National Assembly. Simply because we had already had an investment, initial investment with the fiber cable laid. And
sorry, initial investment in what?
The fiber cable that we already laid, that is the transmission network that connects the exchange with the National Assembly complex initially. So when the contractor, Mobicel, was contacted, he visited the National Assembly and did a survey.
Who contacted Mobicel? Who contacted Mobicel?
I think our team members, my team.
Are you saying that Mobicel, I think you said earlier, are you saying that Mobicel actually went to the National Assembly?
Yes.
And spoke to who?
No, he was invited there he went there with my team to do a survey, because our intention was we will sign a contract with the National Assembly. Whatever offer we get, we will put a markup, and then National Assembly will be paying Gamtel, and then we take our shares and then pay our outsourcer the offer that he would give us. Meaning, Mobicel would give Gamtel an offer, and we put a markup on that offer, and then take it up as a contract with the National Assembly. That is what we did.
That is what you?
That is what we did.
Where is the offer from Mobicel to Gamtel?
I can find it, ma.
Okay, take note. We have this letter from DPPA, which is 7th January 2015. Also exhibit ST67A. This is 2 days after which you received the offer or the award of a contract from the National Assembly. And which is dated on the 5th, and on the 15th you awarded this contract. That's what we have. Can you show him? And this letter indicates that the contract was being single sourced, I believe. This letter or another was being single sourced to Gamtel. This contract was being single sourced to Gamtel on GPPA approval.
From National Assembly?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, there is nothing we have found in the documents indicating that National Assembly was aware that you were subcontracting this contract to Mobicel. Nor did we find anything from GPPA to indicate that they had given you approval to subcontract this contract to Mobicel. Now, did you inform, or do you have anything, not inform, but do you have anything from the National Assembly to show that they had approved or they were even aware that you were subcontracting this contract to Mobicel?
I haven't got any correspondence to the best of my knowledge, because the whole process was being managed by the team that I appointed.
This is a contract for about $28 million awarded to you by National Assembly, approved by GPPA according to the procurement rules that are applicable to GAMTEL as a public enterprise. Now, what approval did you have, whether from your board or from GPPA, to subcontract the same contract to Mobicel?
I don't remember of any approval that we had. The only thing that motivated me was that we were going to earn money for GAMTEL. It can be noted that this happened at a time when we were faced with very stringent financial situations. At one time, we were even, our accounts were threatened to be garnished by the GRA. And as the managing director, I found it as an opportunity to sign this contract with the National Assembly, not allowing them to work directly with Mobicel. At least we could have, we had added our markup, and then we were going to earn some monies to be able to settle some of the outstandings we had.
Yes, but I hear what you're saying, but where do you have any document to show the markup, this markup you've referred to a couple of times, to
Yes.
show what the award of the contract was and what the markup was and what was actually paid? Do you have that?
Yes, we have those documents. What happened is when we got the offer, the financial offer from Mobicel, we worked on it again, added our markup.
Who worked on it?
My team. Before we submitted it to the National Assembly as our offer to National Assembly.
Your team?
Yes.
Did you involve finance?
Finance is in the team, yes.
Who in finance was on the team?
I don't know, but I think the team leader, Sajo Khan.
Yes, we had your finance director, Mr. Banding Silla, and he said he wasn't aware of anything relating to this contract, except when payments were then requested.
I beg to differ because this particular contract was highly discussed even at management level. And before it was even contracted out, a lot of correspondences did happen. And because we had a team that was dedicated to the project, I believe correspondences from those teams in the form of emails and so on were also copied to the finance department.
Actually, what he said was, yes, emails were copied to him, and when he asked questions about, when he suggested that a process be put in place regarding the contract with the National Assembly, he was then cut off from all communications until payment. This is what he said. If you have anything to say, you can add it, say something. But my question to you, Mr. Sanyang, what authority did you have as managing director GAMTEL to contract out, to give a contract for the sum of $28 million without approval from GPPA or approval from the board?
I'm not sure about that of the board. I will check with, if possible, you can check with the project team. But
no, I cannot check with the project team. I have you are managing director of GAMTEL for a number of years. So one assumes that you know what your procurement rules are. Did you have authority to grant a contract of $28 million without taking it to the board?
no, I don't have authority.
In regard to GPPA, did you have authority to award a contract of $28 million without GPPA approval?
No, I was probably misled by the already approval that we had in relations with the National Assembly from GPPA.
That's a little difficult to appreciate. You had a specific approval, which was an approval single sourcing a contract from the National Assembly to Gamtel. How could anyone conceive that such an approval would cover your contracting or subcontracting that very contract to a third-party contractor? What could lead you to make that, to that misconception? Is that what is, if that is what you're saying?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, but like I said earlier on, I think I was motivated by what I thought we could earn from this relationship due to our conditions at the time. And I was able to earn some money out of all of these processes to solve a lot of problems that we had at the time.
You said you earned some money.
Yes, that is the markup I'm still referring to.
But Mr. Silla was here and he said no money was earned. What money did you earn? You have the figures and the supporting document to show that money was earned?
I don't have the supporting documents with me here.
He's your head of finance. Mr. Silla, Banding Silla, was your head of finance when you were MD?
He was the head of finance.
He was quite clear and categoric. Can I have Exhibit 67B? I'll show you Exhibit 67B, which shows you, which has in fact a summary, and to make it easy, a summary of payments to National Assembly. It shows clearly, and attached to it are the supporting documents. This is the correspondence between instructions to Gamtel, from Gamtel to Trust Bank, asking Trust Bank to pay Mobicel. And he says that Gamtel was used as a transit, that the entire money that was paid by the National Assembly was in turn paid to Mobicel Blue on your instructions. I'm showing that to you. And not only was the entire contract sum paid to Mobicel Blue, he said you also authorized for $35,000 to be paid to Mobicel Blue as penalty for late payments that Mobicel Blue claimed. You can take a look at those documents.
I can recall that this amount, $585,807.77, was what Mobicel contracted to us. But what we contracted to the National Assembly is 600 and something thousand. Precisely, I don't know the figure. And the difference was the markup.
Was your contract to the National Assembly, I don't have it yet, was it in dollars or in dollars? Do you have the contract with you? Do you have the contract?
No, I don't.
You have a copy of the contract?
Let me check.
Is that a copy of the contract?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Can I have a look, please? What is the date of the contract?
This was done on the 28th of October, 2014.
Okay. Let's look at the contract.
On the last page.
28th of October, 2014.
Yes.
Mr. Sanyang, this is not a contract. This is the offer, technical and financial offer that
Yes.
you made to...
Yes, at the back of it, you will find the total sum that
Yes.
we offer.
I just wanted to be clear first, that this is not a contract.
No,
it's
it's
the
not
offer,
a contract. It's the
the
offer.
offer you made to the National Assembly.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, my question was, do you have a copy of the contract you signed with the National Assembly?
I don't
offer...
have it on me, but it's available in the office.
Okay. Now, I ask you that because the document that I have shown you, can give it back to him, which is Exhibit SC67A, and that is a letter from the National Assembly to yourself, dated 5th January 2015, awards you this contract for a fixed sum of $28 million, not in dollars. $28 million.
Yeah, I am aware of transactions happening between what we get as an offer from our subcontractor and what we also translate our own offer in Dallas, because the supply of goods are usually in dollars, and that is why I think when we got our offer from the subcontractor in dollars, it was computed and converted into Dallas equivalent for the National Assembly.
Mr. Sanyang, the issue that we have at hand right now, which you're trying to clarify, is what Gamtel earned from this contract. Now, your finance director is saying Gamtel earned zero from this contract. And in fact, when he asked you what Gamtel's interest was going to be, you said it would be in the maintenance, in other words, after-sale service. That is what he was told. But otherwise, Gamtel did not earn anything from this contract. Now, he's the head of finance. If you do have any documents which show that he's wrong and that Gamtel did earn money from this contract and support it by way of bank accounts, or where we can find any bank account or any record of any payment that Gamtel earned, then please bring it to our attention.
Yes, ma'am. What I would do is, I will try to, because I don't have the documents on me since I'm not in office, I'll try to see how I can get it from the project team. This would be a document that indicates our offer to National Assembly, and another document that indicates the offer that was made to us.
We're not talking about offers. You know, offer, you've been in contracting long enough. I'm sure I don't have to tell you. You make an offer. What is important is the contract that was signed with the National Assembly and the terms of the agreement which you have shown us with Mobicel Blue. And of course, the money. I mean, if you received a markup, as you said, it should be in your accounts. So it should be in your accounts. You agree? If you receive the markup, it should be in your account.
In the account.
Okay. Did you ever check whether you actually received any markup at all?
No, it was entirely left with the finance department to manage.
What was left with them to manage?
The payment transactions. I did not do any calculations to check the difference, but all the payments were made to and managed by the accounts department in consultation with the project team.
Let me just read you a paragraph from this award. When you made the award, they attached minutes of a meeting that you held at the National Assembly, dated the 29th of December 2014. You said this, it stated that the managing director of Gamtel, Mr. Babukar Sanyang, informed the meeting that his institution has the capability and expertise to handle the project as expected. This magnificent building cannot afford to fall short of ICT service, which will cater for greater accessibility and security. The system designed by Gamtel is technologically proven and suitable for the new building. The system, if operational, would provide room for expansion, IP interconnectivity with the Office of the President, which already had a similar system in place, and for any other department with associated costs. Now, what puzzles me, Mr. Sanyang, is throughout in none of these documents did you indicate to the National Assembly that your intention was to subcontract this contract or to front, if I may say so, for Mobicel Blue. Because you never signed a subcontract, really, with Mobicel Blue.
No, we did not have.
Were you fronting for Mobicel Blue, Mr. Sanya?
Sorry?
Were you fronting for them?
What do you mean fronting, ma?
You intended to represent to them that Gamtel would, you intended to represent to the National Assembly that it was a Gamtel contract, when in reality it was a Mobicel Blue contract.
No, it was a Gamtel contract by way of signing a contract with them. And we teamed up actually with Mobicel Blue all throughout the project because we wanted to make sure that the terms and conditions that we have between us and the National Assembly are always observed between us and Mobicel Blue.
Wasn't it simpler to ask Mobicel Blue to apply to the National Assembly and enter into a direct relationship with the National Assembly?
Yeah, that was simpler, but I was looking forward to an interest on behalf of my company because we had some very, very difficult times at the time. And I insist that there was a markup that is the main purpose and the motivation for all these transactions that we did.
Do you have any document that you sent to finance or to any finance that's most important, telling them exactly what you were doing, that look, we are entering into this contract with National Assembly, and this is the value of the contract, we are subcontracting it to Mobicel, and this is the money we expect to get from Mobicel, from the contract. Is there any such document to you?
Yes, I am sure there will be a document available if I contact
we would like to see it.
Okay. Thank you.
Who is Mobicel Blue?
Mobicel Blue, the managing director is one Mr. Balajasi.
What is your relationship with Mr. Balajasi?
We only have a working relationship.
How long have you known him?
I came to know Mr. Balajasi in 2006 during the Gambia's preparation to host the AU Summit. We were meeting at the Sheraton Hotel when our responsibility was to lay fiber cables connecting the Brewfoot Exchange and the Sheraton Hotel. And I think at the time he was also contracted by, I think, the Sheraton Hotel to develop an internal network for the summit.
He was working for Sheraton?
He was working in Sheraton. I don't think he was a staff there. I think he also had a contract.
The system that you installed at the National Assembly is a Cisco system.
Yes, ma'am.
Which he acquired.
Yes, ma'am. Which
Gamtel could have acquired itself.
Sorry?
Which Gamtel also could have acquired directly from the supplier.
It is not as simple as that. What actually happens with Cisco is you have to be a certified Cisco engineer for them to be able to sell those equipments to you. And that was more so the reason even the first platform of that nature was deployed in our own premises in Gamcel. And it was the same team that did it for Gamcel.
When was it installed at Gamcel?
I cannot remember. I was not involved in that. But I know we also at Gamtel at one time wanted it extended. That was the time I realized it was installed in Gamcel. So you could not buy these equipments from any other shelf as a Cisco relationship management structure.
Are you saying that Mobicel is also maintaining the Gamcell Cisco system?
Well, I should think so, because if there is a maintenance contract, yes, they are the ones supposed to be maintaining.
There is a maintenance contract?
I'm not sure if it is Mobicel, but it's the same team that did that Gamcell one.
What do you mean by team when you are not sure it's Mobicel? What team are you talking about?
No, because I remember when we wanted to have
what team are you talking about?
Now, that is the contractor, Mr. Jassy, and his team. When we wanted it extended to Gamtel, there was a different name, not Mobicel. I cannot remember that now. So that's why I'm using this word team instead of Mobicel for Gamcell.
Mr. Chairman, we have no further questions on this National Assembly issue, except that the witness is expected to produce any documents that he has supporting his statement regarding the markup that he expected Gamtel to earn from the contract.
Mr. Sanya, could you please confirm to us why you contracted Mobicel Blue to do this project? Was it because Gamtel couldn't do it on its own, or was it just for reasons of finance or profit making? Could Gamtel do this project successfully?
On our own?
Yeah.
No, we could not at the time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Sanya, I just need to follow up on some of the statements you made prior. You mentioned that there's no agreement, there's no contract signed between Gamtel and Mobicel when they were subcontracted. Is that the case?
Yes, ma'am.
Why was this done? Looking at the magnitude of the contract, yes.
Yeah, I would regard it as an oversight, although in the letter that was written to them, they were clearly informed that they will live up to the terms and conditions of what we have signed with the National Assembly as information. And this is what we were using to also work with them during the contract.
Okay. You mentioned that this is an oversight. You also further mentioned that not getting approval from GPPA also, you were misled by the initial approval that GPPA gave. You know, you mentioned earlier.
Pardon?
In one of your earlier statements, you mentioned that when asked about why GPPA approval was not sought, you mentioned that you were misled by the initial application that National Assembly had obtained.
No, what I meant was we were in cognition of the approval already made to the National Assembly, and that we thought was sufficient enough for us to proceed with the contract, because we are the ones working with the National Assembly. And we had a situation where it was only Mobicel that could have done this contract. There was one additional interest apart from the technology that was attracted to the National Assembly. And that also became a determining factor that convinced us and National Assembly to contract to Mobicel, because in the discussions about the technology, Cisco, it was mentioned that if National Assembly is to go on the same technology, it would tomorrow make it easy for them to interconnect with the platform at the State House. At the time, that platform was being expanded in towards forming an e-government platform because other ministries also were connected to it. So instead of having the National Assembly having a separate platform, this platform was only going to be linked to the platform at the State House or the platform that would be used for the e-government. So that became another motivating factor for us with National Assembly to proceed with Mobicel to deploy this.
Okay. Up to the time before you left office, what was the status? Did Mobicel complete this task?
Yeah, the project was completed. There were some outstanding jobs, not outstanding as a job, but some issues related to power problems because this system has some little autonomy when it comes to power outage. And the National Assembly was advised to provide a generator which should be managed as soon as the national grid is off to make sure that the system keeps up and running. But to some extent, it was found out that there was a deficiency at the National Assembly to be able to provide that power supply as required.
I see. It's interesting because what we heard earlier on and what we've seen in documents is also contrary to what you've just said. Because we are seeing that you're saying that it's on the side of National Assembly to provide certain things. But we are seeing that they also have taken action that your part, Gamtel's part, they did not finish the work that they are supposed to do. So it's very contrary to what you're also telling us now.
There is...
no, hang on. Let me just end, please. My key statement here is you've been in position of authority and responsibility since 2011. So you've mentioned here that also not getting GPP approval to subcontract, this not going to the board, no contract signed with Mobicel. It's just amazing that all these could be oversights or, it's just gone, it's just let slip. The process is just slip. Maybe there's something we're missing.
No. Okay, let me start from the outstanding, where we also had issues with payments on time to be able to meet up with the licensing renewal. That was also another problem. And National Assembly also further wanted to have the CCTVs deployed. But that was a special request, an added request that they were supposed to meet. I'm not sure exactly what was the problem, but it was lagging from the National Assembly side. That was what had delayed also the completion of the project. Now, the second part is looking at our situation at the time in terms of financial constraints. It was very difficult, and we were doing everything humanly possible, understanding that even to settle our suppliers in terms of fuel to run our generators was a problem. To be able to meet the demand for GRA was a problem. I was following up on the project, but I was so focused on making sure that the needed markup was still available. And as been instructed, I will do anything possible just to know if there was no markup and why was there no markup, because it has been indicated very clearly in these two-party documents. What we got as an offer from Mobicel, we put a markup on it, and then we sold that to National Assembly.
Okay, we'll be very interested to see this markup that you're emphasizing, because from what we've heard, I think it's more of a loss-making project. So, it's the onus is on you to prove that to us.
Thank you.
It's interesting. If Mobicel did not fulfill their part of the contract, how would Gamtel hold them accountable? You have nothing, if you see my point. Gamtel has nothing to ensure that the works are done.
Yeah, we were in cognition of that as a risk, but that was the reason why I set up a complete team that worked with them both on the commercial side and also on the technical side.
But this is an expensive risk because you said that the project team was made up of commercial, customer service and technical. You have no finance, you have no legal, other people in the team.
No,
so this is really, let me land please. This is really an expensive risk to take for any institution. Because really from the figures, just roughly what we've done, it's really a loss-making one. If you're paying penalty, all sorts of things, really, I find it quite, okay, let me speak for myself. I find it quite interesting that this is, that you're saying that this is a risk here. The process is just like flawed from the onset. That's my final statement. Thank you.
Before you answer her, what's the basis for the penalty? Was it stipulated in a contract? How did you end up paying a penalty? Is there a clause that says if you default, you'll pay 35,000?
Okay, the penalty emanated from the supplier. And this information was shared with the National Assembly even before the due date for the penalty. Because in their arrangements with Cisco, they supply you and then you pay, you have a payment plan with them.
But it was outsourced to Mobicel.
Yes.
So why did you end up paying it? Did you agree with Mobicel that you will foot the bill? I thought Mobicel was dealing directly with Cisco on your behalf.
Yes.
So,
no, I would suggest that, this penalty was transferred. It's not that we paid.
But do you have any legal basis for transferring it? Wasn't it supposed to be for Mobicel?
Yes.
Who were facing Cisco on your behalf?
No, I think the client was informed about the penalty.
That is the National Assembly?
Yes.
Were they also aware that you had outsourced this to Mobicel?
Yes.
And they gave you green light?
They were, yes.
They were aware of the outsourcing arrangement?
Yes.
And there was no objection?
No objection. They were.
So they were a party to the agreement that transferred the bill of 35,000 to you, or to them. They willingly took it?
Yes.
And there was no contract?
It
was just a verbal arrangement?
No, there were a lot of correspondences with regards to that before it even happened.
So you didn't need the lawyer to draft anything in case of such unforeseen events?
I would have thought, these are already variations could be within the contract. And the fact that it was adequately made mention of and the client was informed about it, we were all managing it together. I remember one time National Assembly also had an issue with regards to getting payment from the Ministry of Finance. And everything all was transposed back all the way to the contract.
Okay. One final one. The system at the State House at the time was installed by Mobicel Brew directly? Or did the State House come through you and you also subcontracted Mobicel?
No. The system in the State House was contracted to Mobicel by State House.
So why didn't you suggest to National Assembly to go to Mobicel directly rather than make them believe you have the capability and then go ahead and ask Mobicel to do it?
Yeah, we could have done that, but then knowing that we could earn some money for being between National Assembly and Mobicel, honestly, that was the biggest motivating factor for us, just to be able to meet some of our outstanding payments. And I think that really did happen.
So you made money. It's just the National Assembly that ended up losing additional 35,000.
No, they did not lose, because I know even if they were to work directly with Mobicel, this penalty is part of a contract management, depending on when it is due. It was informed duly before the time was up. If it had been addressed, the condition behind the penalty had been addressed before that deadline, there would not have been any payment.
So you call it a business cost, that penalty. It could have been avoided, no?
Yeah, it could have been avoided if it's related to late payment.
Okay, thank you.